The two-part finale kicks off with episode 15, titled The Summit, and we begin on Pabu. It is here where Tech and the rest of the Bad Batch come to the conclusion that they have no way to look for the secret Imperial base, that being Mount Tantiss. This is until Echo suggests that they plant a tracker on Hemlock's shuttle, as Echo received intel pointing to Hemlock attending a secret meeting with Tarkin on Eriadu. Hunter says that he's not sure if the plan will work and wonders if the risk is worth it. Tech responds by stating that even though they didn't always agree with Crosshair, he's still their brother, and they have to rescue him along with the other clones, and Omega and Wrecker agree. Before they head off though, something that I want to mention is that we get yet another scene with Tech and Fee, insinuating that they might have feelings for one another. But regardless, they finally arrive on Eriadu at the summit, and after transmitting clearance codes, they grapple onto the zipline rail carts to infiltrate the compound. The camera cuts to the aforementioned meeting between Tarkin and Hemlock, along with Director Krennic, among other Imperial officers, and they begin discussing new strategies for the Empire. After Tarkin asks, Hemlock begins describing his plan for the Emperor with cloning technology he's developing based off of the work of the Kaminoans. Hemlock says that he is dealing with the clones by using them as test subjects for his experiments, and with that, Admiral Coburn, who once worked alongside the clones during the Clone Wars, disagrees with Hemlock using the clones for experiments. However, Tarkin states that he too worked alongside the clones and found them to be rebellious, and it seems as though Tarkin is expressing that he doesn't care about what happens to them, especially if there is to be a clone uprising. Nonetheless, once the Bad Batch make it inside, Hunter, Tech, and Echo make it to the control room to access the hangar manifest in order to identify Hemlock's ship. After they are able to locate it, they inform Wrecker and Omega plants the tracker. However, after noticing some oddities for the Empire, such as disabled cameras and such, they discover explosives planted throughout the base that weren't placed by them. Soon after, Hunter and Tech run into Saw Guerrera and one of his fighters disguised as TK troopers. Hunter and Tech claim that destroying the base is unnecessary, as the Empire will just replace the units lost, and instead it would be wiser to obtain secret information from the base. They also need the base intact if they want to successfully track Hemlock's ship to Mount Tantiss. They are all discovered by the Imperials, but Guerrera and his fighters are able to escape, leaving the Bad Batch forced to flee using the rail carts, as Guerrera already detonated the explosives, causing the shuttles in the hangar bay to be destroyed. Now this makes me not like Guerrera just a little bit, because not only did he sabotage their plan to track Hemlock to find Crosshair, but he is also responsible for what's about to happen to Clone Force 99. As I said, they are forced to use the rail carts they used to enter the compound to escape from it as well. However, the issue is that the rail carts get stopped halfway across the line due to Guerrera's explosives shorting out the power. Now, the episode ends there on a cliffhanger, leading into episode 16, the finale. Tarkin, Hemlock, Krennic, and the rest of the Imperials in the command center are safe thanks to Tarkin's safety protocols and shield protecting the meeting room, and Tarkin orders air support to take out the rail cart stuck hanging above a steep fall. With troopers from the other cart shooting at them and the incoming air support, Tech manages to leave the cart and walk across the rail line to access the power terminal. Hunter also shoots down one of the ships, a shot I'm sure Crosshair would be proud of. Anyhow, after restoring power to the rail line, Tech attempts to make it back to the cart, but one of the starfighters sends one final bolt into the mechanism, causing it to hang over the void below. Now, these carts have two sections, so two separate subcarts on each rail cart, and the one Tech manages to grapple to is the one hanging off the track. The rest of the squad is unable to help Tech up without causing both subcarts to fall, and with that, Tech puts his brothers before himself and declares Plan 99 into effect, shooting the connection hinge so that his cart falls and allows the others to move forward, sacrificing himself for the rest of the team. Omega screams Tech's name as he falls to his demise below. They crash onto the other side of the line and sustain fairly devastating injuries, with Wrecker's neck injured, Hunter's ribs, and Omega being knocked unconscious. But for some reason, Echo seems to be fine. Regardless, they carry Omega on board the Marauder and head to Ord Mantell so that AZ, Omega's droid, can help nurse their injuries, especially Omega's. Omega wakes up and says that the last thing she can remember is Tech and begins panicking, but Hunter calms her down and says that they'll be staying on Pabu and putting the soldier stuff behind them. Deeply saddened, Wrecker sits at the bar and Sid offers him a drink, but he declines. She says that she really liked Tech, who she always referred to as Goggles, and Wrecker replies by saying that he liked Tech too, clearly too emotionally and physically exhausted to do much of anything. While waiting on the ship, Echo attempts to report the arrival of the Empire to the rest of the squad, only to realize that the Empire has jammed communications. Back at the bar, Sid says that she tried to look out for the batch, but they attracted too much heat and brought it to her business. She continues by stating that she had to make a choice, and she chose for herself and her business, selling them out to the Empire for a handsome reward of credits. Though once she receives her reward, she seems a little regretful, perhaps because she sold them out before knowing about the fate of Tech, and perhaps she feels bad. Nevertheless, after Hunter orders Omega to use the secret underground rail system in Sid's office to reach Echo, Hunter and Wrecker are detained by Hemlock and Imperial clone commandos after putting up a valiant fight. Omega decides not to use the rail system and instead enters the ventilation system to get outside of Sid's bar. Now, before we continue, Hemlock gives Hunter Tech's broken goggles and tells him to consider it a gift. With that, we can assume that Hemlock knows of Tech's true fate, whether he is truly dead, or he survived and they have him in custody, or they cannot find Tech's body, which could imply that he walked away on his own, though that is unlikely as he would be in no condition to walk, especially not very far. Anyhow, once Hemlock escorts Hunter and Wrecker outside, Omega fires a shot from her bow to divert their attention and to potentially save her family, though she is stunned by the clone commando Scorch and taken by the Empire. Despite not being able to rescue Omega, Echo helps Hunter and Wrecker, and the three of them are able to make it off Ord Mantell with AZ, swearing not to stop looking until they find Omega. The episode ends on Mount Tantiss, where Omega is greeted with Nala Se as they land, and Hemlock says that if Nala Se doesn't help him with his scientific endeavors, then Omega will be punished. She is taken to a cloning chamber where she finds Crosshair unconscious. However, she does meet another person. This person happens to be Dr. Emery Carr, the scientist we've seen many times before at Mount Tantiss, and she reveals to Omega that they are sisters. Now, overall as a season finale, it was fairly decent. I just wish the twist at the end was a little more enthralling, and the initial plan of tracking Hemlock to Mount Tantiss to rescue Crosshair actually happened. I also feel like Tech kinda died for no reason, thanks to Saw Guerrera, but on that topic actually, one thing that I want to say is that Tech may or may not be dead. I think if he is alive, Star Wars might pull a Marvel Winter Soldier thing perhaps, and Hemlock in the Empire is going to turn Tech against Clone Force 99, but we'll see. With the way the finale ended, they are definitely teasing a season 3, so a lot can happen, and I can't wait for more. Anyhow, I hope all of you enjoyed. Have a great day. See ya.